So John Ross is up to a lot of antics, wanting to drill on South Fork and
Yes.
remodel. Can you talk about that a bit?
Well, you know, he's always kind of, you know, walked to the beat of his own drum, and he feels a certain way. You know, he loves his family, he loves South Fork, but you know, and now he's married, and he's definitely wanting a little bit more privacy. You know, we're talking about a family of essentially billionaires that all live under one roof, and at the end of the day, it's an odd concept, but it's kind of a Ewing thing, and it always has been. And he doesn't want to change that. He just wants a little more space. You know, he stresses that he's a newlywed, and you know, everyone's kind of sleeping right there on top of each other. Like, you know, Uncle Bobby's right there, and Emma's right there, and Elena's out. It's just like, let me get some space and something new. So that's his idea, which I think is normal. Now, if it's going to happen or not, especially with Bobby, who knows? We'll see if he'll let that happen.
That complex and kind of deadly mother and son relationship. Can
Yeah.
you talk a bit about that? I mean, your take on it, maybe when you first read it, and now your perspective of it, now that you've played it for 3 years, the notion of this incredibly powerful but very obsessive mother,
Yeah.
and this incredibly ambitious son, and the kind of the friction that lives there.
Well, he obviously had issues with both of his parents, and you know, he loves his mother a lot. I think the drinking thing was something that really tore him up growing up. He just knew that mom drinking's a bad thing, and the fighting between JR and Sue Ellen always, I think, kind of it pulled at John Ross, left to right, father to mom, and whose team am I on, and so I think he's got a lot of resentment that's, you know, that he covers up. He covers up with kind of bravado and trying to say, you know, I'm John Ross. I know I'm in control, and I know exactly what I want with my life. But at the end of the day, you know, every day is a learning process for him, and a proving process. Whether he's trying to prove something to Uncle Bobby, or whether he's trying to prove something to JR, Sue Ellen, or himself. But you know, Sue Ellen and John Ross have come a long way since the pilot of the new Dallas. They didn't have a very good relationship in the beginning, and they kind of then she would kind of take his side, and they would work together. But then, what's really getting at Sue Ellen now is she's seeing a lot of JR and John Ross, a lot of JR traits, whether it's the backstabbing and the scheming, willing to do anything for business and to get ahead, or whether it's how he treats his significant other. And it's really taken a toll on her, and it's definitely not helping her when it comes to her process of trying to stay sober. It's kind of pushing her back, kind of like, you know, what JR always did. He kind of drove her to drink, and she hates thinking that John Ross could be anything like JR. So it's a big struggle, and this year they, you know, it comes to a clash. It's a pretty intense. They've got a really intense moment, mother-son moment, and it's gonna remind, I think, a lot of the fans of the original Dallas what happens from it.
Will John Ross do anything as extreme as what his father did, like have his mother put away or anything like that?
You know, I hope not. But again, when he needs to do something, when something gets in his way, just like JR, it's almost that he would stop at nothing. And usually the only thing that he won't cross, you know, is like, he and Sue Ellen really have a big problem. And I think that at the end of the day, he does love his mother, and he cares for her, and he doesn't want to see her go off the deep end again. It's a nightmare. It was a nightmare when he was a kid, and he does not want to see that again. So some stuff happens that I think that they both aren't going to be proud of, and but the audience is going to love it.
What do you wish for?
You know, this season is very much about people comparing him to his father. Now that JR's gone, you know, he hears a lot, "You're just like your father," or Bobby might say, "You're half the man your father was." He keeps saying, "I'm nothing like my father," even though he knows he's very much like JR. He was taught how to do business one way, and that was from JR, and he believes that that's the way to win. But at the end of the day, like I said, he's a guy who acts like he knows what he's doing. He's got everything under control. But really, when he gets by himself, it's like, okay, now what? How do I get out of this? You know, and he really does look to his father and hope that his father will somehow give him a sign and an answer as to how he gets himself out of this, or what do I do next, or what do I do about this. I think he really believes that JR left him too soon. As much as he and he and JR were going to kind of battle it out season 2 and try to gain that power and that top seed at Ewing Global or Ewing Energies. JR passed away, and I don't think he was ready for that. He, as much as he puts on a front like, I know what I'm doing, I'm in control, he really does wish his father was still around. So he's got a lot to learn about himself, and he's making a lot of mistakes. And he's seeing how some of these mistakes, how big the consequences can be, and how dangerous they can be. I mean, the Ewings get threatened a bunch this year in a big way, and which again, it's great for TV, but in John Ross' world, it's a never-ending roller coaster. And so, I think he wants to be on top. His main thing is like, I know that the only way I can make JR proud is if I can be the biggest company in the world and be sitting at the head chair, the president chair, the biggest company in the world. And he's obsessed with that. So that's going to cause a lot of problems, but it's a journey, and it's an exciting journey, I think, especially for the audience.
The Ewings are a little bit like the Kennedys in a way. They're a touchstone in American culture. Losing Larry obviously is a devastating event, but do you feel as an actor all eyes fall to you a little more heavily in the wake of that because John Ross is JR's son, that because the performance that you carry is somehow, it's the surviving legacy of whatever Larry constructed in that moment and in the moments that you shared as actors?
I remember getting the role and kind of studying who JR was as a character and what made the world kind of become captivated with him, kind of create that love to hate theme, and I understood it pretty quickly, and I never wanted to play like I was trying to be JR. I really wanted to be like, who would his son be with the issues and the struggles that he grew up with his father and his mother? Who would his son be? Now I had someone said the other day, you realize you're the last Ewing, living Ewing that is all about oil. It's Jock, and it's JR, now it's you. You're it. Bobby's about South Fork and preserving the land, and Christopher's about green energy and methane. No one else in my family is about oil, and I believe that that's what we do. That's what made the original show so big. It was about this grand wealth and this Texas oil, and that's all he knows and that's all he cares about. So it's kind of cool to think that I am kind of that last Ewing that's really trying to keep our legacy alive in the world of oil. And so, and I keep getting a lot of things. I never try to mimic Larry at all, but people see these little grins things that I do, or the way that I say things, and they say that it really reminds them of JR. So for me as an actor, that makes me, it makes me happy. It makes me proud that I'm actually kind of reminding people of the great JR, and so again, John Ross is his own character, but he's kind of, I always wanted to hit the spawn of JR is what I wanted to be. I wanted people, because I knew going into it that the fans, first of all, they were going to be very skeptical of us bringing the show back in general, so we had to do it great. But also, if I was going to take kind of a leading role in the show, in the steps of the best villain in TV history, I had to step my game up and really improve myself. And so Larry and I, the first season and half of the second season, we really fed off of each other. And I love some of those scenes, man. I mean, getting to work with him was just an unbelievable experience and opportunity for me. I don't know how long the show's going to go, but I'm willing to be here as long as it goes and keep growing with the show and kind of being that villain that he was.
Has John Ross considered the complications if Pamela finds out that he's been cheating on her?
I think that he thinks that he's so good at what he does that he can get away with it, and he justifies it that he's doing it for the better of the family. He knows that he does love Pamela. He doesn't want to screw that up. But he's so caught up in taking this company to the next level and making these big moves that he puts that kind of behind him, knowing that I'm good enough at this that I won't get caught. And when stuff starts to really, when it starts to get hot on him, and he's starting to see that maybe did Sue Ellen see something, and does she know something? Then he starts to really kind of worry. But I think he thinks he's got this in the bag, and as we know, that's never the case on Dallas. You're always going to get caught.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. It's good to see you guys.